Man, I really don't know what to do right now. Guess I can just scroll on Instagram while I figure out what I want to do. Hey, now I'm over here. In reality, I'm just gonna keep scrolling for hours and hours and hours and waste the rest of my day. You've done this before. Obviously, I've done this before. We've all done this before. So let me give you 7 ways that you can make sure that something like this doesn't happen again. First is to just take a walk outside. This is my favorite thing to do when I have that moment of realization where I'm like, what the heck am I doing? After I've been 30 minutes into one of my scrolling sessions. I get off my bed, I go downstairs, I just put my shoes on, and I walk around my magnificent forest, at least to a suburban dweller like me. Maybe that's a little too lame for some of you, so if you live in a neighborhood, you can walk around your neighborhood, or maybe you live in a city and you can walk around that. Probably bring some noise canceling headphones though, because that can be quite loud. I then have 2 different things that I might do on a walk depending on the type of vibe I'm in. Either I leave my phone inside and I just spend like 10 or 15 minutes walking around, meditating, reflecting, and overall just being mindful with no entertainment or content of any type in my ears. It's a great time for me to think about what I can do better, what I've made mistakes about, and how, I can stop these scrolling sessions. I can think how I can do better with my YouTube channel, my social life, my religious life, my family life, my financial life, or just admire the chirping birds and listen to the leaves ruffle from the wind. I'm not great at poetry. But especially if something emotional happened to me recently, I might just grab my headphones or my AirPods and just listen to some music while I walk around. I can use the music to express the way I'm feeling in that moment. Of course, I don't just want to dwell in those feelings for like an hour and a half. So I walk around for like 10 minutes and then I move on to thinking about how I can deal with the situation better. But when you're outside, I have a hidden third thing that you might just want to hear me out on, okay? You might just want to hear me out. What if, instead of just walking around, zoning out, or meditating outside, super great things, you called someone you cared about? Ooh, that might have caught you off guard. You may have seen similar videos like this one, and they talk about useful things, but I feel like they miss some of the important, private, personal matters that matter to a lot of us. Namely, communicating with our family, and for many of us, how little we do that. They say you spend 90% of the time with your parents in the first 18 years of your life. And 69% of parents see their kid 52 times a year or less. So why don't you change that communication and, give them a call? It may seem a little scary, and I do not like calling people in the slightest. But most adult children already text their parents fairly regularly according to the statistics. And phone calls are only reserved for those problems where you need something from your parents. So I say, why not surprise them? And call them about something that isn't just a problem, and just checking in on them and asking them about some topic that you guys share in common. Interest, I should say. That's gotta be more fun than whatever this new TikTok trend is. And hey, maybe you have a really good relationship with your parents already, and you don't think this is necessary. Well, I'm certain that you've had some really good friends that you just haven't talked to in months. So why don't you send them over a message? I know it can be a little daunting to call someone that you haven't talked to in 3 months, so I think texting might be better here, but it is a good way to rekindle a connection of a good friend. Now it's time for you to meal prep some meals. Dieting is extremely important to changing your weight, gaining muscle, focus, your health, your energy, basically everything in your life. Dieting is very important for affecting. But eating good food is annoying and takes time. I know it's much more difficult for me to make a healthy sandwich than to just go to my pantry and grab some chips. So why not use some of that 5 hours a day TikTok time to meal prep some meals? You pick out a meal that is relatively healthy, that you don't totally hate, and then you just make 4 or 5 days worth of that meal. For example, I'm currently trying to lose weight, and so I need a lot of protein and very few calories. And so I realized, wait, I really like grilled chicken. But when I come home from work at 8:30, I don't really want to make any food, so I just end up eating chips. So then I started asking my parents to buy more chicken for me, and now when I come home from work, I just grab a piece of grilled chicken from the fridge, heat it up with a paper towel in the microwave, grab some bread, cheese, lettuce, and all that jazz, and I eat a sandwich that has maybe 500 calories for 50 grams of protein. But I really like grilled chicken, and maybe you don't like grilled chicken. You like grilled chicken, you just haven't found your spice flavor yet, but that's whatever. Find something else that you can make that's healthy, that you can do for multiple days. By doing it all at once, it makes it much more sustainable for you than having to make a healthy meal every single day. Cause only the freaks want to cook every day, alright? Next is journaling. Why not take a snapshot where your life is by writing a journal? Write about what's been going on with you, what's been on your mind and thoughts recently, what you need to fix, what you've done recently that's been positive for you, things that you could improve on. All this stuff can be maintained in a journal. For example, one journal I wrote about how it was good that I was spending more time talking to new people. But recently, I spent a lot more time on YouTube than I was comfortable with. And then I wrote about what I think my solution is going forward with reducing my time on YouTube. Every once in a while, I look back at my journal just to see what's going on, what my thought processes were, to see where I've stayed the same, where I've gotten worse, where I've gotten better. And it's a really good way of changing and updating your perspective, because you have a blurry understanding of the past, especially when you think about what you were thinking back then. You might be able to remember the events, but not exactly how you were thinking about the events. Next is to do a clean out selling spree. Basically, look through all the stuff you own, do a little bit of research into the items that you think have some value, and then list them on eBay or Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace and make some extra cash. For example, there was a big box of PS3 equipment and games in the basement, and so I grabbed that box, figured out how much a PS3 went for, figured out how much all the parts went for, and then listed it on eBay. I then did the same thing with my Xbox 360, and crazily enough, I had a game that was worth twice the amount of the Xbox 360, Blitz the League 2, which was worth $80. I have recently learned from a friend like how much Legos can be worth, so seriously, you might be sitting on some magical money. And really, selling on one of these apps is like two birds with one stone, because you, one, make some money. It might not be a lot, but I think if you look at the time spent selling and how much you made, it's still a good amount per hour. And it's a way of cleaning your living area. The best part with the eBay app is you literally just take a picture of the stuff that is in front of you, and then eBay will show you related similar listings of the exact same item and how much it's going for. So the most difficult thing, figure out how much each product is worth, is literally done through the eBay app. Next thing you should do is read. A lot of people have negative feelings towards reading because of school, but there is a book for everyone out there. You can read to learn, or you can read to have fun. Both are better for you mentally than scrolling on social media. You don't have to feel the pressure of all the online people telling you to just read all these nonfiction books if that's not what you really want to read. I really enjoy nonfiction. I don't like fiction books at all. And so one of my favorite things to do is just to find a book on a topic that I've been really interested in. And then I don't even go through books, but I go through articles about it. For example, a current event that's really interesting to me, or a new discovery like the dire wolf, I read a little bit about on that. The India-Pakistan flare-up, I read a little bit about that. That was cool. Especially if you're looking into higher education, you're really gonna have to learn how to read a lot. And so, why not grow your knowledge and also develop an important skill for most of you that are going into higher education? And then I think the most important thing that you can take away from this entire video is to explore your possible career. This tip right here could save you tens of thousands of dollars. You don't have to wait till college to figure out what you want to do. You don't have to guess at what you want to do when you're going into college. That can start right now. And even if you think you know what you want to do going into college, a vast amount of people end up switching their career. Like they go into college for a year and then switch to their minor or a different elective that they took just because they need another elective, because they realize that the thing that they thought they wanted to do isn't actually what they wanted to do, even if they were super confident on it going into school. So what you can do is find someone with the career path that you want to go into and follow them around. Listen, it may seem difficult, but you can do this, and let me explain. First, you look for any adults around you and ask them if they have any connections whatsoever to someone who might be in this field. Trust me, this is by far the easiest way. Try to ask every adult you know, teachers, parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents, parents' friends, friends' parents. But if the answer is still no after all that work, you go into Google and search up the career path you're looking into near me. So if you want to be a cardiologist, look up cardiologists near me. And then try to find a contact us email that isn't about like actually participating in their services, and instead is meant for people to connect with the person themselves about like opportunities and whatnot, and send them an email saying that you're interested in their career path and you want to figure out if this career is actually for you. and you ask them if you can just shadow them for a week to see what the career is like. You would be surprised at how many people say yes to this. They literally has no advantage to them, it only makes their life more difficult. But hey, humans are pretty good sometimes, and they want to help other people, especially if it's someone in their career path where they can feel like an expert. And listen, it may seem like a waste of time, but there's only a few outcomes of doing this. Either the career that you thought you wanted is what you wanted, and you figure out what you want to do for the rest of your life, and now you have something that you can put on a resume or a college application as experience and something that most people won't have, or you figure out this career is not for you, and you just saved probably a year of your life and like a couple $10,000 in going towards a college path that is not for you. You will also gain valuable professional experience because this will likely be your first time interacting in the job market outside of low-skill, entry-level jobs like McDonald's and Starbucks. If you find this tough because you are really addicted to your phone, like most people, and even when you realize, hey, I shouldn't be on Instagram, you continue staying on Instagram, I made an entire video just for you on how I was able to cure my social media addiction, and how you can as well, using some really underutilized tactics. You can check that video out right here. And don't forget to get off social media, start doing something else when you're bored, and think better. I'll catch you over in this video right here.